What's up, guys? This is Chico here. This is just a little disclaimer at the beginning of this video. Some of the footage that was used in a court case against me in Brazos County, and I did plead guilty to the charges on September 11th, 2018. So I have been prosecuted for this. I'm just here to say, don't do this. This is not me trying to encourage this behavior. I'm doing the opposite. Do not do this. But this is part of the main story, and had a big impact on who I became and my deconversion story. So I just wanted to let everyone know about that. I had atheist mom react with me. I want to shout out her. Thank you for letting me be a part of this channel, part of sharing with you just life and going after bad ideas. Pushing for critical thinking. I think it's very important. I know this is just kind of a small YouTube channel. I know she'd already had some followers before I came along, but I just wanted to show my appreciation towards her and to the subscribers that are already here. Thank you for accepting me, and thank you for watching this video. Hello, this is Atheist Chico, and
this is Tam, the atheist mom.
today is a
And
little
we
something. Oh, sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead. No, you're good.
we're fine.
No, okay, so anyway, no, go ahead.
Let's start our
Anyways, no, go
introductions
ahead.
again.
This is
Hey
the
Chico,
atheist.
stop.
No, go ahead.
Hang on.
No, that's perfect. That's perfect. That's a perfect entry right there. But today
Let's
is a little bit different of a video. We're kind of reacting to my deconversion story. I had originally planned to do this by myself, but Tam is here, so I mean, why not use her? Take advantage of me. Why the fuck not? So she's gonna be here, just basically ask questions. I have footage of my arrest, and that's part of me and my deconversion story.
stories like these are not easy for us to tell, but they are very, very important because we keep getting asked over and over again, why don't you just let people just keep their beliefs? They're not harmful at all.
Right, very true.
And then so we're telling you guys this, we're opening our hearts. I'll do mine eventually to
Yes, and that,
kind of give you a look on and what indoctrination can do and what it feels like when you become free of those shackles.
yeah, that's a very good point about beliefs. Can be toxic, and they do, in fact, inform your actions, as you will see in this
Yes.
video. Of some dumb mistakes that I did. But essentially, I was raised in a very conservative, very religious, fundamental household. Homeschooled. I'm the oldest of four. Very,
What
very,
denomination were you
very
raised in, Chico?
restrictive. It's, I don't know. Growing up, I would always say, "Oh, I'm non-denominational," but looking back
Yeah.
now as an atheist, I would say Southern Baptist, but in a
Okay.
culty way, like more culty than just, I don't know, a regular churchgoer or whatever. Because I was homeschooled, very reclusive. My parents are very helicopter parents, very sheltering, not a lot of freedom. Basically, grew up, lived with my parents till I was, I guess, 22, 23. I think it was 23, and moved down to Texas. This is where this event happened that I'll be showing here in a second. Some family down here, also very religious, very Southern Baptist, also very culty. Um,
Very, very fundamentalist, it sounds
yeah,
like.
they're not. I would
Very
say
conservative.
they're less culty only because they're most of their kids were allowed to go to public school, which my mom, nah, that's not okay. They're gonna learn science and they're gonna learn about
It's sad that we
homosexuality.
have oh, oh no. It's sad that we have to talk about religion as if it has a cult scale because it does.
It does. It's totally a spectrum. Totally, it totally is. You can be a crystal healer whack job, and to
Yeah.
me that's still culty, but it's like the least culty
It's
of the
not
cults.
that culty.
And then you have stuff like Mormonism. There's definitely a scale. Um, But I moved down there
Yeah.
probably for about, I worked 3 months, got myself arrested. All right, guys, I had to interrupt here with my own audio overlaying the audio that we recorded because I messed up and the audio got garbled. So the GoPro sound drowned us out while we were trying to talk. And I don't condone this behavior. It's very illegal, and um, it just goes to show what beliefs do. They inform your actions, and even something so small as a God belief can lead to some mental health issues. And um, yeah, I just encourage anyone who does this to take it as a learning lesson, um, and try to take care of your mental health. Contact Recovering from Religion, the Secular Therapy Project, and don't be afraid to call the suicide hotline, prevention center. Just please take care of yourself. It's very important. I'm gonna skip forward
So
here because it's me just
yeah,
speeding along like an idiot.
with your GoPro just
My GoPro.
completely.
I got one on my helmet, and I'll show you the other.
You got one on your. You got.
I got two GoPros
Did
running.
you did you prepare for this?
Well,
Like,
yeah,
did you go
that's a good
out
question.
looking to
That's a
do
good
it?
question. No, I didn't prepare for it. But I had been moto vlogging, so it's basically like uh,
Oh, okay.
a
You'd been
vlogger, but you're just
you'd been
talking
riding with
about.
a yeah.
Yeah, I had to delete my channel.
Mm?
Partially, well, I didn't really have to. I I was told to delete my channel, not even by my lawyer, but by my father because I said swear words. I said swear
Oh
words like
no.
fuck and like shit and like bitch and like ass. Those that's naughty, naughty. You can't be having. You're
No,
supposed to be a
no,
good Christian man. This is how strict I grew up. I could say I could say you're an idiot, but I couldn't say you're stupid. I could say uh, sit down on your bottom, but I couldn't say sit down on your butt.
same here. We couldn't
Like
say that
it's so,
either. It's super weird.
over the top strict, and that causes some really rebellious children if you're that strict. Um, and I know that's true for me.
Yeah.
Trying to get away from helicopter parenting as often as possible, it leads you to not a great place in your life. But I'm just gonna play. The reason I had the cameras on in the first place was I was moto vlogging, doing a YouTube channel, and I was just recording from both angles. Part of it was me thinking um, poorly with suicidal thoughts and depression. The other part was me thinking, ha ha ha, look at me, I can get away with this, I can stick it to the man. Um, Both mindsets were bad and toxic for my well-being and potentially the well-being of others. So it's very important that you have your head put on correctly, and mental health is so very important. So that's essentially what these videos are on here for, is just a learning lesson. Please don't do what I did. I'm not endorsing this behavior, but I do have the footage, and so might as well use it. Um, Either that or it just sits on my hard drive. But yeah, I'll let you guys get back to the video.
Oh no. You just know. You knew. Um. Oh my.
What's your that cop on the top right there? He goes, "What's your damn malfunction, boy?" Real southern like.
I didn't mean to. Yeah, I did mean to laugh. I'm
No,
sorry.
that's fine. That's fine. But yeah, that's pretty
That
much it.
wasn't necessary though, throwing you that hard.
Yeah, that's
You
what my
know, because
lawyer said too.
yeah, but you were already like you had your hands up. You weren't resisting arrest. That's kind of irritating to
Yeah,
watch.
but I mean, adrenaline was flowing in me and them, so
I mean,
I
but
know they're
he like
cops.
catapulted your ass over the concrete. That's not
I'm just
okay.
glad I'm a white dude and I pulled that stupid stunt. Like,
Yeah,
if I was any other shade of, ooh, maybe if I was
anything.
Asian, they'd been a little bit nicer though. But
They
any
they
other shade.
Right.
I've
So
watched that a few times, and it's a little frustrating.
uh,
I mean, I have a very well documented with sufficient evidence of my mistake, and yeah,
so
it's kind of hard to watch. But I guess moving on from there, I went to jail, got
yeah.
locked up for 9 days. My dad had always told me, if you ever find yourself in jail, don't call me. I'm not bailing you out. And I always knew that.
Mm,
He said that from the very day one. Well, he ended up bailing me out regardless.
yeah.
I weighed like 135 back then on drugs and fucking depressed, not eating right. Um,
Yeah.
I'd lost like another 10, 15 pounds just in the 9 days, so I was even more scrawny. I was so upset, but I was in jail and I was praying a lot. I got a Bible. They had little prayer groups in jail.
Like they were a little bit in your face, or
I
were
don't think it
they
was
just
forced,
very
but
right? But sometimes they can kind of make it seem like this is what you need to do now.
yeah, it's
I just
definitely
didn't
that. It's
know.
definitely you need God. You're a sinner. This is why you ended up here. Um,
Devil made you do
and
it.
even from just the inmates, not even like the pastor that comes in and talks to you. It's the inmates like, oh well, you could have done this better, and since I've been in here, I found God, and blah blah blah. Of course, they get out and they like, not all of them, but I would say majority of them will get out in a couple months or whatever, however long they're in there, and they'll repeat offenders. Like, how's that God stuff doing
Sadly, that's the
for you?
statistic.
Why
Yeah.
why I thought atheists couldn't be moral, and then a Christian who knows God goes out and reoffends. Okay, whatever. I don't know.
Do you feel like do you feel like that might be a coping mechanism to a lot of people because you can't change that situation. When you are behind bars, you can't change that. There's nothing you can do. You can only find ways to cope and ways to deal with the regret of making
Yeah,
mistakes. Do you feel like that could be a big part of it?
for
On
sure.
why those groups are so popular? Because it is very, very hard. I don't know if you feel this way, but to when you have a regret to kind of reconcile with yourself,
Yeah,
and not only that, just you would also be stuck behind bars where you can't go anywhere. So I didn't know
right.
if you felt like maybe that that's what was so attractive, for lack of a better word,
No, absolutely. I mean, you're in there and
about those groups.
you're stuck. You have TV and you have 3 meals a day, and you can go out and play basketball every now and then. When you're stuck in there and you're stuck with your thoughts, pretty much, like you don't want to be in there, and someone's offering you a solution of how you don't have to get in
Yeah,
here again. Well, just you gotta have Jesus or do whatever, blah blah blah. And that was true of me, although I was already in the mindset that God was real prior to being locked up. That's kind of the mindset I had while I was in there is God, praying to God, God, I need you. I messed up my
yeah,
life. I'm on drugs. I'm fucked up, and oh, I swear if I get out of here, I'm gonna find you. I want it. I want a relationship with Jesus. I'm gonna prove Jesus to myself, and that was my goal. And so I was reading all these books and little pamphlets. Of course, these pamphlets are like,
oh the
here's how we know
pamphlets.
Jesus was a real person, and it lists all this evidence. And then I get out and I'm like, oh yeah, that's what we don't have any evidence that Jesus existed. I got out. I got the talking to by my uncle and my dad, and I was 23 at the time. This happened in 2016, December of 2016. Probably within 3 months, that's when after my research, because I was pissed off at myself. I was frustrated with myself that I didn't have God in my life, and so I was going to prove God to myself. And so that was my mission.
Yeah.
And when that's your mission and you're that passionate about, I need to have this relationship, and you read the Bible, if you don't want to become an atheist,
Don't read the
don't read the Bible.
Bible.
I would read with my uncle almost every night. We would do one chapter, and I remember getting to Exodus and Exodus 21 in specifics, and it talks about slavery and how you can own a person as property. And I was reading it like word for word, and I'm like, oh, this doesn't sound right. And I'd read it before, as a Christian, but I
Right.
wasn't really. I don't know. I didn't even really think about it when I read it the first time. I was just like, oh, that's the old days or whatever bullshit excuse. But this
That's the
time
excuse I used.
when my objective was different, of I need to be a better person, a good moral person, and that pops up in my Bible that I'm reading, that's supposedly God's like word. Uh, huh. And I was still dealing with depression and uh, very suicidal. Uh, 3 months later, on March 16th, 2017, I've had it. I don't know where God is. It's been 3 months since I got out. Uh, Crying out to Him almost every night. Uh, Praying all during the day. I'm not seeing anything, and I'm not sure what I need to do. Where's this faith that God is supposed to give me? How do I even know what that is? Where do I get that? What does that even look like? And I just had enough, so I got home from work, and um, that was it. I was gonna hurt myself. I remember it very vividly. I was on the ground. I was naked, screaming out. I was having like just the weirdest experience, like a panic attack. Just everything in my being was just in complete and utter pain, just crying out. I had my phone right there. I was praying, God, I need a sign. I need a still small voice. Just show me something. This doesn't make any sense to me. And I waited and I waited and I waited. I didn't hear anything. I didn't see anything. And that silence to me was deafening. And I had this epiphany moment. Something in my brain just like, oh, fuck. Maybe, maybe this God thing isn't actually real.
How'd that
And
feel when you first had that thought? Like the
I,
first thought, like maybe this isn't even
I
real.
was upset. I was livid. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? My parents had told me this for 23 years. I've been believing this lie for
Did you feel lied
23
to?
years. I felt lied to. I felt um, I felt angry that I could be so blind, and I almost went through hurting myself um, again, even after kind of that epiphany. Like I fucking wasted 23 years of my life with this nonsense. I'm done. I'm actually done. This is absurd. I stopped and I said, okay, look, this is some new information we've just received. I'm talking to myself.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go downstairs. I'm gonna open the medicine cabinet. I'm gonna take sleeping pills, not enough to hurt me, but just enough to knock me out, so I don't hurt myself.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna call it a night. I'm gonna sleep on it. And I woke up,
Good.
and something was different. I was still depressed. I was not happy with my situation, obviously. Fighting a court case for my stupid, dumb actions. Um, and then having people saying to me the whole time, "Oh, you need to stop taking antidepressants. You need to start praying more," and blah blah blah, and all this just garbage advice. Um,
Really, really bad advice.
I started looking online. I just said, "Okay, well, what evidence do we have that a God exists? What does that even look like? What am I? Was Jesus a real person?" And I started going down these rabbit holes, and I saw what a Jewish person would say. I saw what a Muslim would say about Christianity, or at the point, since I thought, oh, this whole God stuff is bullcrap, I thought, oh my gosh, maybe I'm in the wrong religion. Have I been praying to the
Right.
wrong God? But then at the same time, I was like, I was in so much pain. If there's any God from any religion not hearing me cry out, and he didn't show up, maybe none of them are right. I don't know. So I kept looking. Came across this ugly motherfucker named Matt Dillahunty. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. And
He's a big fan of our show.
big fan, big fan.
Didn't you know?
And I listened to him, and over the next 3 months, I would say I was kind of like hardcore agnostic, which I don't really think one can be. If you're agnostic, to me, you're an atheist. I know I was an agnostic atheist, like from
Yeah.
that night on. But if my family had asked me, I'd be like, no, 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 and I'm still a Christian. I'd still read the Bible every night with my uncle, but I'm being more critical of it. It's a bad
Yeah,
idea.
you're actually thinking about what it says instead of just taking it
Yeah,
and being like,
that's all I
okay, and
did.
making
Was
excuses for it, like in Exodus 21. Well, that was just the old days. Everyone had slaves, and leave it at that. You weren't. It sounds like you were thinking about it critically and not just leaving it at that anymore.
right, right. But I'd be riding my skateboard to work because there was kind of something with my driver's license, obviously. But I live like 10 minutes away from work or whatever on my skateboard, so I just skated there. And I would be listening to Matt Dillahunty on the way to work and doing household chores, mowing the lawn. And I remember one day specifically because I the whole thing with me crying out to God and wanting this thing called faith, I was begging for this gift because like right, the Holy Spirit or Jesus is supposed to give you faith. If you
Right.
have enough of it, you're supposed to be able to move a mountain. Like, what is this? Can I measure it? Where do I get this? And I remember listening to AXP and Matt saying, faith is unreliable pathway to truth because both a true and an untrue thing can be claimed true based on faith. And I was mowing the lawn while I did this, and I literally have it, and I just stop,
And it's like, holy shit.
bruh.
So
That's what. That's my whole issue. I wasn't getting anywhere with faith because it's pretty much useless until it can be demonstrated otherwise that it's actually an effective way to find truth.
and then you start realizing that all religions use faith.
All of them
You
use
know,
faith.
should you believe them all? You know, conspiracy theorists take that on. They don't have evidence on faith. That yeah, I
Yeah.
can see how that was very eye opening for sure. And
So
while you're mowing,
while I'm mowing, I
that's
literally stopped
poetic.
mowing, and I pulled my phone out of my pocket and I tapped the little YouTube button to go back 10 seconds, and I listened it to it again. Uh huh. Okay. Okay. And I do it again. Uh huh. Okay. So it's not. And I keep doing that. I did that like probably 5 times before I was like, wow, that's duh. And that that was one of the first major cognitive dissonance things that I had to knock off. And as I kept going, I kept knocking it off, and then it became this thing of like, oh my god, I gotta find the next fucking cognitive dissonance. Where is it? I know it's somewhere in my brain. I gotta find it because it feels so good. It's like a brain orgasm when you find that cognitive dissonance and you remove it from your head.
This is like
Oh,
drugs.
I'm
Is that
upset
what that
now
would
because
be
I
like
can't.
drugs?
I'm sure I still have some, but I'm like, oh man, I wish I could have that feeling again. It's like that drug you could never ever
Yeah.
replicate.
I was gonna, I was gonna say, you sound like someone looking for cocaine.
I need some of that cognitive dissonance remover. Oh god.
So you had this revelation, I guess we could call it. I hate using that because
Well, that's the thing.
a
You
religious
can call
fuzzy
it a
term.
revelation, and if it was a revelation, like even the people the Christians I told about this, like, well, you didn't kill yourself, so God must have been protecting you, or
Oh, that's so
like, well,
toxic.
then why
That's so,
in a defining moment of my life, why when God could have stepped in and said, "No, here, I got you. This is where you're messing up. Let me show you." Instead of that
and how,
happening,
yeah.
why am I now an atheist?
That's so like a slap in the face to all the families who have lost people who have. I mean, you're not the only one who went, and I'm not saying that to downplay your story. I'm just saying there have been others who cried out and they did not make it.
Right. Yeah.
What I mean, what about, do those people, were they just not doing it right?
Right.
For God to intervene and save their
Like
lives because
what more could I've done? I was completely honest. I was completely sincere. Like if that's
yeah.
I I was laying face down naked, my fingers fucking in the carpet screaming, "Oh, where are you?" And, come
Oh,
on, like if that's not sincere enough and I didn't do it right, well,
I wouldn't want to be
fuck
with
you.
that God.
Fuck you. I don't care about your fucking
Yeah.
opinion. Yeah.
You come out of all this turmoil and you're looking to take your own life, but you're crying out sincerely. Um, and yet there's just silence. So yeah, I was just saying I wouldn't even want to worship a deity that wasn't good enough for.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. If he wants to be worshipped so much. I'm willing to be a worshiper. I just need a little something from him. That's all I need. I need to know that this is actually legit.
and
If he
and at the
can't if
time
he
it's
can't
that
do that,
and at the time it sounds like it was one of those anything. Just give me anything.
yeah.
Anything at all. Please just like strike lightning, just strike
Yeah.
lightning, do
My phone
something.
was right there.
Something.
I'd even texted people that night like I'm having a really bad day from my Christian friends. I didn't get a text message or a phone call till the next morning. Like, could you have not used the Holy Spirit to go through them, or have some random person call me on my
Yeah,
phone, or what?
have
Come on,
them wake
where's
up.
your all
Yeah.
powerful? What's going on here? Um, but I'm glad they didn't because honestly, if they had called, I'd have been like, oh God, he is real. Oh my gosh, and my cognitive
Yeah.
dissonance would have come right back. But yeah, so I guess moving on from there, it wasn't till maybe 3 months even after that date of me trying to hurt myself, maybe even like 6 months probably, where I was like comfortable to tell myself I'm an atheist.
Yeah.
It's rough, and then it gets to the point where I'm still reading the Bible every night with my uncle, and I'm like, "No, this is bullshit. I know this is bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm trying to kind of weasel my way out of this habit that we've created of reading the Bible every night, and I'm just like, this is the most immoral book ever. Like I don't
Can
want
we
to.
just stop?
And I gotta. I'm I'm not financially stable. I have an ongoing court case. I'm living with my uncle. My family's back home in Colorado, and so I'm kind of just playing by the rules as best I can.
Yeah,
Um,
you're doing what you can. You're doing what you can.
and but I got to the point where I couldn't handle it anymore, and
Yeah.
I had to tell them that I don't buy this anymore. I'm not convinced that any of this is real, and I
So
felt
how
like
did that go? Oh,
I
sorry. You
yeah
felt like what?
I felt like I did it respectfully. Um, it it kind of became a nuisance at one point because I waited a whole year to the date of me trying to hurt myself permanently to get a tattoo of the atheist day. It kind of solidified me as far as like I wanted to come out to them and say that I was an atheist because I'm sick of the Bible studies. I'm sick of the oh you just need to keep praying and the depression will go away. They help me because they are supporting me for a roof over my head. Obviously, I was working for them at their businesses. The love that they had for me was there for sure,
Yeah.
but it was conditional, and I'll get into that. I got a tattoo. I hit it on my arm for about I don't know 2 3 weeks until they started asking, and at first it has the atheist day kind of like on the screen here with the date 3/16/17, and I would just tell them, oh, that was the day that I tried to hurt myself, and I haven't tried to hurt myself since that date, and even today I haven't, and um,
Yay, we're glad.
right,
We're glad
right.
you're here with us.
Thank you, thank you. I'm happy too because I
Oh,
was I was fantasizing daily about not being here. Like that's how bad it was. Eventually, it kind of got out. I also had a invisible flying pink unicorn logo on my car, and they're like, "Huh, what's that?" And they did some research and like, "Yeah, I don't know if that's actually a
oh,
good thing." And my aunt started asking me, "What's that on your car?" And my coworkers were
oh
like, "Oh,
God.
that's how." And she's like, "It better not be a bad thing." And I'm like, "Well, it's really not.
Define
It's
bad in your
probably
eyes.
subjectively bad to you, but it's not bad."
Yes.
Because it's disrespectful.
To you.
It is disrespectful
To
for one
you.
woman. Red.
To you.
I came out as an atheist. I said, I just want to let you guys know I don't buy this anymore, and I was very nervous about doing it.
Yeah.
Looking back on it, it's not the best. I probably should have called recovering from religion. If you guys are struggling with family members
Yes.
or religious ideas, religious trauma, recovering from religion,
Great
go to
people.
the
Great.
website. We'll put a link down below, and they have a phone number you can call as well. But I should have called them, but I didn't. I kind of took everything into my own hands. But I came out. I had heard Matt Dillahunty say, "Let people be shitty for a year," and they
Yep.
weren't. They weren't shitty.
I heard them say that too.
They probably a couple of years because I was fighting my court case for like a year and a half, 2 years, something like that. And they would kind of debate with me here and there and throw out some fallacies, and I'd be like, no, 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 and I try to explain it to them. But they were like, okay, we get where you're coming from. I think a lot of them thought it was a phase, but
And then
I also
earlier
had
you
the
were like,
tattoo because I didn't want them thinking it was a phase.
it's just a phase.
It's just he's just in his angry atheist. He
I feel
hates
like
God or whatever. Blah blah blah.
I feel like that's so ironic because I feel like the God thing is more the phase. Because Santa Claus is a phase, Tooth Fairy is a phase. I don't know. I feel like
That's a
that's
good way
just.
to look at it.
I mean, I don't know. I just feel that like it's the other way around.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Like
I
like
agree.
like the whole God belief is it's just a phase. You'll
Yeah,
grow out of it.
yeah.
But I am glad that you grew out of it and that you
Oh, so am I. I'm
and,
so happy. Um,
and that you took back control of your life, I guess I should
yeah.
say.
Yeah, that was a huge deal for my depression. As soon as my worldview
Oh, I
started
bet.
comporting with reality more, probably within I want to say a year and a half of getting like seeing a therapist and getting on antidepressants, I I I didn't even talk to my therapist about, oh, I should probably wean myself off. I said just no, and that can be dangerous. So don't always do that. But I just stopped it just like that. I'm not taking my as soon as the bottle ran out, I'm done, and I was fine. I was thinking clearly. I was thinking for myself. Uh, I felt free. Like I'm allowed to have thoughts. I'm allowed to express myself. Allowed to be critical of ideas of others and especially my own. And that's how I got to where I've gotten today. And that's very important. Kind of the rest of my story and wrapping up. I was still fighting my court case for, like I said, 2 years or so, and I did end up going to prison for that. They gave me two options: eight years in prison or shock probation, which is 6 months prison and 10 years out on probation. I current
Hashtag Texas.
hashtag
I've
Texas.
That was the only part of the story I knew prior to recording, and I found that insane because you had no prior offenses.
No prior offenses. Maybe like
Hashtag
a couple
Texas.
speeding tickets back in Colorado, so not even in Texas. Got locked up, and my family promised to visit me while I was in prison, write to me. I got a handful of FaceTime visits that they have there at the county
Really?
jail before I got
Yeah.
transferred to prison. Mostly, I think it was just my uncle and my dad. I think my mom was there for one of them. It wasn't what I wanted. I wanted it in person, especially in prison when I went.
Yeah. When you don't
Um,
get to see.
I wrote to them once a week. Every day, I kind of kept like a journal. Today this happened. Today these are my thoughts. Today I talked to a flat earther here in prison, and we started talking about religion, and then it ended up on flat Earth. Of course, they probably looked at that as like, oh, you think we're stupid because of this guy from a religion to flat Earth. I don't fucking know. I'm just assuming at this point, but 2 months in jail, but that counted towards my 6 months overall, and then the last four were in prison. Didn't get any visits for those last 4 months.
I would have
Um,
visited you.
thank you, thank you. Once I moved from the jail to the prison, the letters, I got maybe 4 or 5 letters in the 4 months I was there, and I don't know, something
Mm.
seemed off, something seemed amiss. Unbeknownst to me, people were talking about me. They were defaming me, making up stories. Well, previously they had told me I would have a job with them, I'd have a place to live until I could get my own place. They were going to help me out, but instead I was welcomed with a ultimatum and manipulation. Ended up in a homeless shelter for about a month until I was able to get enough money and get my own place. They had spread around this rumor, and I don't really want to get into it because I'm gonna start bawling
Okay, that's fine.
my eyes out.
It's fine. Just say what
Um,
you're comfortable with.
my dad had met up with me at the gate when I was getting out, and not to talk to anyone. He had told everyone else that if Braxton contacts them, not to answer back. He took me to a resort, very expensive resort, and I got to ride my skateboard. I was happy. I was like, "Hey, I'm out." Super excited. I just wanted to see my family. I miss them, and they didn't want anything to do with me. They had propagated some very malicious, evil stories about me. Some of the stuff that was evil that they said I did is either moral or amoral, but according to their holy book,
It was against their own personal subjective
right. And it's
beliefs.
crazy. I don't want to get into details, but
Of
half
course.
the stuff they said that I've done or did um, far outweigh the Bible.
Yeah.
Far outweighs the God of the Bible, Yahweh, that they bow down and would worship for eternity. They can't wait to do that. A mass genocide, infant killing, slave master. They are okay with that person, but the person that they created me to be in their mind is much worse.
That had to hurt.
It was rough. I thought about getting a defamation case going with a lawyer. That costs money that I didn't have.
Really?
That costs time that I don't have because I have
So
probation
the
fees to do and all this other stuff. Um, but talking to my atheist friend at the time, they were like, "Look, this is fucked up what they did to you,
oh.
but they've burnt their side of the bridge down. You haven't burnt yours, so you can file a defamation case. You can probably win, and you've completely burnt down any hopes of a relationship with your family. So just keep that in mind." And I was angry. I wanted them to pay,
Yeah.
but I know my siblings and my cousins and whoever else, other family members, other friends, um, stuck in that mindset. Um, Obviously, everything. If I did went through with that, everything Braxton did, now he's suing us for all this and blah blah blah. Blah. It's just gonna make them the backfire effect, and doubling down is gonna be so much heavier. So the ball's in their court, even though they say the ball's in my court.
Yeah.
Well, whenever you decide to come back to Jesus, you need Jesus, then we'll accept you back. And I was like, wait, so you're just banishing the your heathen child, your heathen nephew, and you don't want anything to do with me? No, well that's up to you. That's up to you. That's not up to us.
And
So
they got that mindset. I feel like, and this is just an assumption, but I feel like it's pretty well um supported by people who say that. They will also say it's up to you not to go to hell.
yeah,
It's not up to God. And so I feel
yeah,
like
they would say
that
that.
mind I feel like when you start with that kind of mindset, that affects how you look at all the other issues in your life. And so I can
Yeah,
totally
yeah,
see people, like, I don't want to say like that, but with that mindset saying something very similar, like what you just told me.
yeah. And I still love them, even though I'm
Yeah,
furious. But they definitely
yeah,
have this, and I don't want to bash them too much because I feel like I'm a victim, not even to them so
yeah.
much as I am to the religion and the thought process and the belief system behind it that they use against me, that they're stuck in, and they're I honestly think they're getting abused by their own belief system. I think pretty much anyone in a religion, because your beliefs inform your actions, and if your beliefs don't comport with reality, you can and most likely will abuse others based on those beliefs, even if it's not it directly, even if they think they're doing the right thing and they're totally honest about, no, I'm doing this because I love you. Well, that would be true if your beliefs are true and they're demonstrable, then yes, then you are
Well,
justified. But It's based on faith. It's based on poor reasoning, and it can cause a lot of damage. They
They're making up their own rules
yeah.
and they don't realize it. And I wanted to mention another thing. Don't let that because I think sometimes when we love people, we can kind of make up excuses for them in a way. And while I do think that religion abuses people, I also think that bad, for instance, um, he doesn't get off the hook just because there was a tool available, religion, to abuse me with. You know,
He also doesn't get
it
off the hook just because you're blood related.
exactly. And so, um, yeah, they could have very well been victims of religion, but that's still not an excuse to treat a human being and in that fashion. It was just, some people use bats, baseball bats, to abuse people. Some people use, flip-flops, depending on
My
your
shanklets.
home.
So that kind of pretty much sums up my story. I'm an atheist now. I am not convinced that God exists. I am open-minded. I am open to evidence, but it needs to be sufficient evidence.
And
Um,
something that we haven't seen for over and over
yes,
and over again for the past 2,000
thousand
years,
years. Yeah, that even
thousands of
further than
years.
that. Yeah, I forgot to mention that me throwing my Bible out in the trash for the first time
How'd
was
that feel?
I was scared. I was terrified.
Right? I was too.
What if God is seeing this? What if, oh my gosh. And then I just said, you know what?
Did
He's
he
had his
strike you with
chance.
lightning?
He didn't. He didn't.
We are very glad that you did not end up taking your life, that you are still with us, and
Likewise.
that you are. I mean, who else would be my co-host?
Probably
No one.
fucking no one. Yeah.
Exactly. I can't think of anyone better. Your story was crazy and great, and honestly very inspirational. And so, I really want everyone to take your story and maybe kind of apply it if they are deconverting, and I think you did good.
I do too. I'm happy I'm
And
alive
you,
now. I'm
I am too.
excited to wake up. I
That's great.
like the sound of me breathing and listening to my own heartbeat. Before I used to
That's
hate those
great.
things. Um,
And no God needed
no God needed.
to
Can be
appreciate.
completely moral. Can live a full, happy life, full of meaning. And yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening to my story.
Thank you for telling your story. I think it was very important, and I think a lot of people needed to hear it, especially people who feel like they might not be important without those beliefs, or um, that they are. I don't know, there's just so much in your story that can reach so many people, and just thank you for telling it and being willing to open up
Yes, it's been my pleasure. This has been Chico, and this has been
to us. Mom or Tim.